I decided to put this video together because I've been doing my best to maintain a neutrality and take in as much information as I can from the spiritual perspective. And an easy way to think about that is reading the energy. You could equate reading the energy with reading the spirit. What is the spirit of what is happening with this virus, pandemic, shutdown situation that has rested upon the globe? So what is going on? Well, one thing that is very clear, if you spend any time on YouTube, is that you have a kind of mainstream media presentation of something that is lethal. A virus that every day is killing thousands of people in all countries. The ratios are much higher than any type of illness that we've seen in a long time. And we have to avoid contact with each other. We have to block our faces from expiring liquid, from receiving droplets that are coming from other people who may or may not be infected. We don't even know if they're infected, even if they show no symptoms. That doesn't matter. We're seeing pictures constantly of, I don't even know who, first responders, as they call them, in hazmat outfits, pushing stretchers, a sense that people are dying off the charts, and you see the pictures, you hear the rhetoric, it enters into the psyche and triggers tremendous fear. Now, as well, simultaneously, what is emerging, and the easiest way to see it is through looking at YouTubes, because you're not going to see these people on mainstream, are high-level doctors, scientists, epidemiologists, people who study infectious diseases, who are responsible for high-level decision-making in laboratories, in pharmaceutical situations, in vaccine situations. They're struggling very hard to establish their credibility so that what they say will have an impact. So you have sort of two different spirits, and I don't mean an individual spirit, I mean a movement of energy. And we are, as always, for those of you who love the truth, faced with a question mark. What is true? Why is a situation like this occurring where the truth is not the highest priority? So that helps you to recognize that there must be agendas happening. I think when these kind of situations occur, there's always a certain rush to what they call conspiracy theory. That they, which is always representative of these powers, these superpowers, are trying to create some sort of a greater control, greater restriction to the general population, trying to create an atmosphere of fear and essentially provide a solution whereby they make a ton of money and the general person, general population, the everyman, as it were, suffers, and they don't really care about that. That's the sort of conspiracy theory model, that we, the people, are being oppressed, and they think we're so stupid we don't even know. What I'm seeing here, as a priest, as I guess you could call my approach to life, studying and discerning truth, trying to know and feel what is true, recognizing that energy, the energy that an individual puts out, cannot be manipulated. Somebody might have an agenda, and they may not want to communicate that agenda, so they will communicate something contrary to it, but the energy that they're putting out, they cannot obscure that. Which is why some people can tell right away if another person is lying. Doesn't matter what they're saying, it's in the energy that is emitting, that is radiating from them. You have to remember that the media and the political machine, meaning politics in general, is no longer about serving the people. So political leaders in the purest sense have to discern what everybody wants and then seek to bring about what is best for the most amount of people. And I do believe that is healthy. We need that. I do not believe that we have much of that left. Even good people who went into politics, I think, quickly realized that a pure way of serving the public does not work. So they have to figure out how to get their political agenda accomplished through deals, through misrepresenting, through manipulations of the media, through means that we as the people who don't know about it would probably be more or less horrified. Now, one of the things that we know for certain is that 2020 is an election year in the United States, and there are people with the thought that Donald Trump could get reelected that would go into some sort of psychotic, horrifying fit. The idea that this man could win a reelection is like, it makes them want to shoot themselves. So there is a tremendous amount of energy trying to figure out how do we ensure that that doesn't happen. So you can see remnants of that in this situation. That they can identify that Trump's administration did not handle this situation correctly. Also, the one thing that Donald Trump can really stand on as positive from the 4 years that he's been in office is that the economy has done really well. Is that as a result of Donald Trump's influence? I would say somewhat, but also there's always a residual effect from prior presidents. But over the last 3-4 years that Trump's been in power, there's no doubt that the economy has improved and unemployment has dropped. So all of a sudden we have a situation that has forced the economy to close down. So how is that going to play out? When this virus sort of loses its newsworthy appeal, whether that's in 2 weeks or 2 months, come November when it's election time and people look around and go, look at the economy, they're not going to remember that the economy was devastated by the coronavirus, or if they do, they're going to say Donald Trump and his administration did not handle it properly. Therefore, we're going to blame him, so let's vote for somebody else. But the people who are more undecided, the people who have been monitoring, well, you know, Trump's not so bad, I'm willing to go either way, but not sure I like Biden or whatever. This situation has given a lot of hope to the politicians that Donald Trump will fare out poorly in the next election. Politics has become an embarrassment. How is it embarrassing? It's embarrassing because it is about devastation of character. Right? We have Joe Biden that looks like he's going to be the Democratic Party representative or nominee. Now, all of a sudden, he's had a career in politics. I don't know how long it spans, maybe 30 years, 40 years. He was a vice president. None of this ever came up. But all of a sudden, we have somebody emerges from 25 years ago, I believe her name is Tara Reid, who has a story about some way that she was assaulted, molested by Joe Biden. Why does that show up all of a sudden? It shows up all of a sudden because somebody has gone looking for something to discredit Joe Biden. And that can only be because politically, they do not want Joe Biden to be seen in a favorable light. So you have to recognize that the political climate of our country is more hate-based. It's about ruining people. And even if all the research indicates that it was a lie, there's contamination now in the person's reputation. So we know that that's at play. Now you have another angle that's been emerging from these scientists and lab technicians and doctors and scholars or what have you, people who are considered educated and credible, that there is a correlation between pharmaceutical companies, Fauci, World Health Organization, CDC, and to all of a sudden create an opportunity where potentially billions of people are going to be clamoring for some kind of vaccine against this hyper-deadly virus. There's a huge amount of money to be made. And all the world's eyes, or at least all the US eyes, are on this guy Fauci. And there are people who know and have known him who have claimed that he's corrupt, that he basically is in bed with the pharmaceutical companies, and that he has an ambition to be a celebrity. Is that true? This is the thing. What is the energy of it? When you watch Fauci on TV, do you get a sincere energy? When you watch these people speaking who are passionate about revealing what they know, what is the energy? What is the agenda? What is the motivation? There are people, scientific people, medical people, established doctors, people who have been in high positions to counsel countries about epidemics and pandemics and infectious diseases, saying that what is going on is not based in science. I heard one guy today actually say the disease appears to be fictitious, that the testing does not follow standard protocol to isolate a virus and determine the existence or the presence of a virus. And that many deaths are being attributed to COVID-19 without proper autopsies and without proper procedure. Is he telling the truth? Does what he say come across as credible? So really the big tragedy is that the humans, we the people, the souls who are most affected because we're not allowed to do this, we're not allowed to go here, we're not allowed to touch this, we're supposed to wear masks, we're supposed to suffer silently as our livelihoods are suspended, our ability to use the earth, we can't go to the beach, we can't go to the parks, we can't use the planet. We are here sitting by going, what is actually true? And if you are somebody who lives in a certain level of fear, then the news media triggers all that fear. And this worst case scenario mentality takes over. So I got to wear gloves everywhere. I got to wear a mask everywhere. God forbid I was to get this and not have any symptoms, and then I give it to my friend, and he goes to see his mother, and his mother goes to see, their grandmother, and lo and behold, she dies of respiratory failure. That fear exists in the culture. And whatever is happening right now to orchestrate this incredible surge of fear is very effective. It's so effective that it is crippling and has crippled certainly the U.S. economy, European economy, North American economy. Wherever we get good, reliable information, we know that economies are under siege. They are basically being locked down. There is a general theme to all of the people who are speaking against what the media is delivering. And that theme is, we are not being told the truth. That there are shortcuts being taken. I mean, do you ever stop and go, when I see these pictures on the news, people in hazmat suits, pushing gurneys, loading bodies, I mean, there's no real sense. I haven't seen anything like that. Are you walking around? People go to hospitals, go to doctors, they say nobody's seeing any patients. So whatever we're seeing on the news makes you go, is this actually happening? Is there actually a disease? Or is there a virus that leads to disease? Or are somehow hospitals and doctors and organizations being told and being manipulated into reporting something so that A, it affects the next presidential election in the US, B, it causes a dramatic shift in the economy and thereby creates the possibility for a new set of rules. Like, remember what happened after 9/11 in the United States? All of a sudden, going through security measures completely changed. And almost 20 years later, many of those changes are still in place or have gotten worse. So these kind of cathartic moments change the rules for society. And who benefits from that? Well, it's hard to say. Certainly, people who are selling certain things can benefit. Somebody selling masks can benefit. Somebody selling vaccines can benefit. Essentially, if the governments around the world said, if you do not get vaccinated, you cannot function in society the way others can. A year ago, people would be like, they can't force me to take a vaccine. When all of a sudden, where I live, you can't go to the beach. You're not allowed on the beach. I mean, that's unheard of. Certainly in North America, it's unheard of that they would put up barricades against the beach, claiming, you're going to spread disease. But they may, after a while, go, well, you can go on the beach. However, you have to pass a checkpoint that shows that you've taken a vaccine. How many of you know really what the vaccine is? What is being injected into your body? I mean, for a long time, there's been scientific and medical research and people protesting vaccines as things that lead to serious illnesses. But the mass mind culture is that, vaccine is good, right? Vaccines, they somehow prevent the disease, right? So what I want to communicate, and in conclusion what I want to say, is that I do not believe that we are being told the truth. I do not believe that social distancing is a good solution. I do not believe that clamping down on the economy and slowly allowing a couple of bubbles of air where you can open your restaurant as long as people are 8 feet apart, and you can't open your gym and you can't have your massage therapy, but essential services like Home Depot can function, or you want to get fast food. I mean, all of a sudden you have control over business that is supposed to be one of the number one things that, especially in America, they loathe. Do not tread on me, as they say in the South. So you have a dramatic shift in terms of to what degree gubernatorial powers affect the day-to-day life of the average citizen. And it's becoming more and more the norm. When people protest against this, when people put out information that they believe is based in fact, a lot of it is taken off YouTube, taken off Facebook. Certain people have been arrested. And you have to sort of sniff around and go, energetically, what is going on here? Well, Jesus taught in the Bible, give to Caesar that which is Caesar. So I am essentially following the rules. My mind is clean. I am perceiving a lot of deceit. I'm perceiving a lot of suspicious action. I think a lot of the politicians at the lower levels, the mayors and the governors, they're not sure what to do. I don't know if they're in on anything bigger. But they're doing what they think is best for the people. And it's very difficult when the message has become not one more person should die as a result of this virus. So we're all going to sit around and do nothing, and we're all going to allow for the consequences of being shut in at home, which they are severe, significant, when people are not making any money. I mean, people can sort of coast for a few months on their savings, but they're nervous. And then when it sort of ends, all of a sudden, well, we don't need as many employees back. We can sort of adjust here because, we have to recoup from the 3 months that we were shut down. So you have an aftermath which could lead to a recession, depression, etc. So then we have the repercussions of that. It is sad that you have a powerful aspect of society willing to discard the rest of us. But I do believe in following the rules. Now, I do not believe in getting vaccinated, especially if there is no real virus, or this virus is barely stronger than an average flu. I don't believe in getting vaccinated, but people have to get vaccinated if they want to. I'm particularly nervous about vaccinations now because I don't know what they're injecting. So I encourage you to take in as much information outside of the mainstream media to balance out and get a feel for the consistency of the story that is being told. The consistency of the story is that there is a virus, it's not that lethal. You know, the death rate is exaggerated because the testing has not been widespread enough to recognize all the people who probably have been infected and had very little symptoms or moved through it very quickly. So why would all of this be orchestrated? Why are there people's death certificates that are writing COVID-19 when really they died in a car accident or they had kidney failure? Which is what certain doctors and scientists are reporting. Why is that happening? You recognize that there are agendas that we are not privy to. And even if you can't stand Donald Trump, this is not the way to get rid of him. People get to vote how they want. You want to fabricate stuff and ruin people's lives in the hope that that allows for Donald Trump not to get reelected. That's sick. That's sick. That you would not give a crap about people and their day-to-day lives and their, you know, all the fears that this is initiating because people don't have the consciousness yet to discern the truth. That is sadistic, completely uncaring. And for, you know, if this is something that is driven by a democratic agenda, behind-the-scenes agenda, this is, you know, by any means necessary, we have to get rid of Donald Trump. I guarantee you that most of those Democrats are mostly concerned with themselves. Because anybody who takes an oath of public service would go, well, we can't fabricate all sorts of weird lies just because the end result might be we get rid of a president that we think is harmful. I mean, that is, no, I'm never going to support that. I'm going to support honest and fair election systems. Let the truth be known by the people and let the people decide and act at the highest level of consciousness and responsibility that they can.